Welcome to the stream, everybody. Today I am talking about the all or nothing versus some is better than none, or I really should say the deadly all or nothing versus some is better than none mentality. This was inspired by a comment that was on one of my videos over the past 12 hours or so. I can't remember who said it, but I did a video where I was talking about this concept, this all or nothing versus some is better than none. And the person commented saying, that sounds exactly like me. I go hard for 50 days and then I'll train every day for 50 days and then I won't train at all for a month. And I've been there, I've done that. I've been the person that does all or nothing training, and I've also been a person who does much more consistent training. And I can say undeniably that consistency beats intensity every time. I've also worked with many great classes, world-class coaches, and they all have the same theory, principle behind their training. It's about consistency. It's about training at maybe 70 or 80% max effort, but doing it daily. So how can you go from listening to this and nodding your head and saying, yeah, that sounds good, to actually implementing it? So I'm going to give you some tips. The first is, don't approach your training session as though you're making up for lost time. That's one of the biggest pitfalls that people fall into. They've missed a week, they've missed a month, whatever it is, and they come into that first training session and think, I am going to make up for lost time. It's the fast road to failure, because what happens is, when you approach training like that, is that you go way harder than what you should. You should always listen to what your body can produce in a workout, and also train in a way that uses progressive overload. So if you take even 2 weeks off, like 2 weeks of no training, if you're used to training 6 days a week, your next training session, you wouldn't train as hard as you did the week before or the 2 weeks before. You'd go a little bit less intensity. So lower intensity, less intensity is it basically means lifting less weight, or doing a calisthenics progression that's a little bit easier. And then what you want to do is just get into that habit of turning up to the gym and doing workouts that you feel empower you, rather than workouts that you feel just destroy you and make up for lost time. And it's a really common thing that people go through. So if this is you, if you're nodding your head saying, yeah, that's me, I'd do that, don't worry, it's normal. Lots of people do that, and I used to do it too. So, because when you develop this attitude of, I'm coming in and I'm making up for lost time and I'm going to go as hard as I can, so that because this last 2 weeks has been terrible, so I'm going to make up for it by doing harder training sessions. It's just not how the body works. The body you can't go in and train at 70% normally and then miss a week of training and then train at 100% for the next 4 days, and that makes up for the week you missed out on. It just doesn't work that way. Nothing will beat consistency and frequency. So what's much smarter is to foster a relationship with your training where you, even on the days where you don't feel like training, or even on the days where you feel like you're tired or exhausted, you can still get your ass to the gym and do something, which is, now I'll talk about this concept of some is better than none. Because it is such a powerful concept, and it's something that Yanni and I, whether anybody else has come up with this saying as well, Yanni and I coined it without hearing it from anybody else, so I'm not saying nobody else has thought of it, but we were just, observing the members of our gym that got the best results at Unity Gym over the 8 years that we were operating, and the members that were always having these sporadic results. And the members that got the best results, for sure, were the ones that turned up daily and didn't kill themselves, but they just turned up and just turned the wheels over, just did the work. They were often the grey man or grey woman in the sort of back of the gym or in the side of the gym that wasn't, yelling and screaming and throwing weights around, but was just getting the work done. And these folks got incredible results over time. And it's definitely a philosophy that I've adopted that's allowed me to achieve more in my 40s than I did in my 30s, and more in my 30s than I did in my 20s. because I definitely had the go hard or go home, or as we like to say it, the all or nothing mentality when I was in my 20s. Back when I was doing Kung Fu, I was always like this. And I'd come and I'd be really, really good for 3 or 4 weeks, and I'd train every day for 3 hours, 6 days a week. And then I'd do nothing for 2 weeks. And then I'd go, oh God, I gotta get back into it. And I did that for 10 years. And I would have been so much better if I had have just found this way to cruise along, you know. And there's many reasons why I did that. I was just young and dumb and had lots of bad habits. So, you know, we're in week 2 of 2024. This is still a time of the year where I recommend that you definitely be evaluating what it is that you're wanting to achieve this year, and then assessing your actions and seeing if those actions are in alignment with your goals. Because that's one of the greatest heartaches that people will, in my experience, that people go through with their health and fitness, is when they have goals and actions that don't match the goals. So it's you know, if this is you, if you're somebody that falls victim to this, you know, January, you go as hard as you can, you really push for it, you know, you get there as fast as you can, but then at the end of January, you fall off the wagon. And then by the time Easter comes around, you're thinking, oh God, I've got to, you know, reconnect, I've got to refocus on my fitness goals. Then I highly recommend that you at least spend a little bit of time contemplating this all or nothing versus some is better than none. So when you approach your training sessions, you know, all or nothing refers to I'm doing everything that I intend to do, or I'm doing nothing, which can be viewed like, often people will have goals where they're going to go for a run 3 or 4 times a week, and they're going to go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, and their gym workouts are going to be 90 minutes, and then on the weekend they're going to do a yoga or Pilates class, and then they realize like it's just completely unrealistic that they would be able to maintain that, and so they stop doing any of it. Or another way to look at it would be, I'm going to start this new program. You know, we get people in the UMS that start, and everybody fills out a questionnaire when they join the UMS tribe membership that tells me how many days a week they can train and what days of the week, and I use that to create their custom program. And sometimes people start with 6 days. They're like, I've get people that come in and they tick all 7 days. They tick Monday to Sunday. And 2 weeks later, I'm getting a message saying, oh, I think I might have bit off a bit more than I can chew. Can we dial the program back to 3 days? So that's the smart way to do it. Then on the other hand, you get other people where they say, this is a little bit too much for me. I'm gonna cancel my membership. And that's the all or nothing mentality. It's this idea of, you know, I came in with this intention, I'm going to do 6 days a week. Can't do 6 days a week. I'm not going to do any of it. And that's such a sad moment for me, because those are real lost dreams there. Because that same person is going to go through the exact same cycle with the next thing that they try. They're going to look for something else where they're going to try and cram more than they can fit in their schedule, but think that this thing, this new thing, is going to be the time that they're going to be able to get it done. And when you reevaluate that, so you go, okay, I said I was going to train 6 days a week, but that's unrealistic. You know, I've got these commitments with my kids and with my spouse, and maybe I'm going to dial this back to 3 days a week and then build from there. And then when you start doing 3 days a week, that all of a sudden starts to empower you, and you start to feel good about yourself because you're getting the workouts done. And that builds momentum. And once you build this habit, this healthy habit of exercise, it actually starts to become quite easy. It's very hard to create a new habit, but it's also hard to break a habit. So creating or breaking a habit there's a lot of work involved in it, and there's a lot of intention behind it that you have to be very, very clear on what it is you're trying to do and why you're doing it. And you have to make space for a new habit, or you have to, replace a bad habit with a good habit. But once you have a habit, it's very, very easy. It's very little effort to maintain a habit. That's the idea of it. Our bodies and our brains are wired that we do as much as we can in our daily life via habit, because habit doesn't require thought. So a good example of that is if you've been driving for 20 years or almost 30 years like I have, then you can drive places that you go to regularly, and you'll get there and almost come out of a like meditation where you go, whoa, how did I get here? And you reflect back and you know that you didn't run any red lights or do anything illegal. But while you were driving, your brain was on something else. You were thinking about what you're going to be doing when you get there. You were going through that, proposition for, your next deal at work. You were thinking about the shopping that you're about to do, because driving becomes a habit. You don't have to think, if you drive a manual, push the clutch in, change the gear, go back to the steering wheel, turn. It just becomes a habit and you just go through the motion. And exercise can become like that as well. But almost certainly it won't become like that if you're approaching this all or nothing mentality. So if you listen to this and you're nodding your head and thinking, oh, wow, I haven't thought of that. The takeaway from this is go and have a think about how you're approaching your exercise. And are you approaching it in a way where you think you're going to be able to maintain it long term? Because anything that can only ever be done short term will only ever be an experience. It won't create a result. You can work your ass off for 3 months and lose 20 pounds and get in shape for a wedding or for summer or whatever it is. And as soon as you stop working out, you just put all that weight back on again. And then you go through all that heartache again. Whereas if you, instead of working your ass off for 3 months, if you find a way to just work out daily, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever it is, whatever suits you. For me, I really like it to be daily because I like to have the same thing at the same time daily. I like to know Monday to Friday, this time I do my workout, and Saturday, this time I do my workout. Not, oh, yeah, I think I've got my workout today. Oh, no, it's not a workout. I don't like operating like that, but that's what works for me. And then once you get into that habit and you're not killing yourself, you're just turning up, you're doing the workout. Some days you'll go a little bit better than others. Other days you'll go a little bit worse than others. You'll lose that 20 pounds or 30 pounds or whatever it is you want to lose. But then you start seeing some really significant changes. You'll start building some muscle. You'll start being able to working towards flexibility goals. You'll start being able to work towards some calisthenics goals if that's what you want. You'll be able to start playing the sport again that you couldn't play for years because of the knee pain, because every time you run, it aggravates that old knee injury because of the 30 pounds extra weight you were carrying. Like if I had an extra 30 pounds on me, I've got an old knee injury, I wouldn't be able to run at all. Every time I'd go for a run, if I had a 30-pound weight vest on, I'd be blowing out my knee every time. So there's all these amazing things that happen when you develop that really healthy relationship with your habit of exercise. And you adopt this mentality of some is better than none, which means there will be days where your intention to go to the gym is to do a 60-minute workout. But you'll look at your clock and you'll think, I can't do my full workout today. And you say, oh, well, some's better than none. And you'll go to the gym and you do 20 minutes. Or you'll go for a little, if you don't even have time for the gym, you'll do a 20-minute run or a 15-minute run or a power walk or whatever it is that you can do. Anything. Any of those little things, because they do several things, but the two important ones I want to do is this. Number one, they still keep you moving towards your goals. A 20-minute workout is absolutely enough. If you did that daily, if you did a 20-minute workout 5 days a week or 6 days a week, and that's all you did, even 3 days a week, versus doing nothing, and you did that for 3 months, the person that did the 20-minute workouts 3 days a week or 5 days a week will have a significantly bigger impact on their health and fitness than the person that does nothing. In fact, it'll be like night and day. The person that's doing the 20-minute workouts will be moving towards a fitter body, so they'll slowly be losing weight, they'll slowly be building muscle, things like that. Whereas the person who isn't doing any workouts is going to be moving away from a fitter and healthier body. So they'll slowly be putting on, in fact, it might not be that slow at all. They'll be putting on weight, they'll be losing muscle, they'll be losing strength. So some is better than none, always better than all or nothing. Hope you enjoyed this. If you're listening to the podcast, please give us a review, a 5-star review, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I do these live streams daily. Today I started late because I had some internet issues, but here I am. And also I post my workouts every single day. So I'm doing 2 workouts a day. And if you subscribe to the channel, you can see them all, and you can see what I'm doing in real time with my strength and flexibility training, but also with my hanging handstands and flow training. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you soon.